Good evening. This is the Bedford Township Park Commission Board meeting for July 14th at 7 p.m. We'll call to order the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item is the approval of the agenda as is, unless you guys had any other adds. I did not, so I'll need a motion for approval.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I will second that. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Yes, aye. Thanks, Aaron. That moves us on. The agenda is approved. Approval of the minutes for June 23rd, 2025. I didn't notice any changes, so unless somebody caught something or needs it changed, I will motion to approve them as is.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the June 23rd, 2025 Park Board meeting as presented.
So you second my motion?
Oh, second. Yeah, sure. Yep.
All in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Everybody's an aye. Minutes approved for June 23rd. Secretary's report, Aaron.
Report.
Thank you. Item 5 is the treasurer's report.
Just some typical bills: consumers, Michigan gas, sewer bill, water bill, cleaning bills, and so $22,300 from Point and Pay. So all the rentals at the halls and pavilions, South Tower for the month, and then Purple Penguin happened to be our only vendor that was able to make it, so they paid their $100 vendor fee. So we have that as well from Purple Penguin, and they did a fantastic job, and congrats to them on 5 years in business as well.
Awesome. With no other changes and everything from what I'm reading consumers, Michigan, everything looks standard. I will motion to approve the treasurer's report as is. I don't see any missing items.
Support.
All in favor, Aaron?
Aye, yes.
Matthew?
Aye.
Myself is aye, and Josh?
Aye.
Treasurer's report is approved. Presentations, we do not have any tonight. I don't have an update from any of our park partners or ComEd. I know seasons are in full swing and busy. Most of the younger early summer baseball leagues with 3B have ended. Their championship games were right after our fireworks show that weekend. But I know late summer fall ball is fast approaching, and I know ComEd's right now in soccer ended. They're in the heart of T-ball right now. Things are busy as normal. Leads us to our next agenda item. Comments from the public? Go right ahead, sir. Just state your name and address. And yep, yes, sir.
My name is Mike Scott. I live in Little Streams, 4273. I'm the first house that backs up to Wheeler Park. And I've got a bit of a problem. I don't know if it can be resolved or not. A couple of years ago, from the Parks Commission, where the township came over, we had a lot of trees growing over into our yard from Wheeler Park. As I say, they back up. It starts right at my backyard, and there's 4 or 5 houses that back up to the park. And they needed to come down. And the girl came, I think her name was Sheila, but I don't think she's on the board anymore. Anyway, she said, yeah, they have to come down. I'll try to get the township to do it, but I can't guarantee it's going to happen. She said, but I'm going to try. It didn't happen. We called again. She came back. She said, yeah, I haven't had any success, but I'm working on it. Well, at the time, I've had some problems, new knee, open heart, stuff like that. I can't do what I used to do. So I managed to get it cut back where it was at least livable. Anyway, this year it's gotten so out of control that I called the township board again, talked to a gentleman. He said, we'll give you permission to cut down those trees. There's only a couple. They're tree of heaven. They're a junk tree.
Yep.
And there's 2 or 3 of those, but there's only one that's bothering me. But there's a couple of river locusts that they're not hurting. They're just real tall. And he said all that junk should come in there. So anyway, I've had 2 landscapers and 2 tree companies come up, Bedford Tree Company and All Crane and Tree, they all said the same thing. This got to be cleaned up. These tree of heaven are just going crazy. Nobody walk in that part of the park. That's over in the far end. Whoop, a lot of poison ivy. Now, when Mrs. Wheeler was alive, we were great friends. Mr. and Mrs. Wheeler both back. They let us put up a gate. It was their fence, but they let us put a gate. My wife was a Cub master. Not that it matters. She'd take the Cub Scouts back in there for nature walks and all that stuff. That can't happen anymore because the paths are just a lot of poison ivy, poison oak. But these trees, there's a mulberry tree and a couple more. 2/3 of them are hanging over in our yard. They straddle the fence, but they're growing to the open. So we have nothing back there, but in fact, a good third of my backyard has never seen sunlight all summer because of the limb, and they're very high. So I called the tree company to see what it cost to cut them back the fence line. They both said, "You're wasting your time. 4 years, you're going to be right back. They need to come down." I said, "Well, that's what everyone says." Now, Mrs. Wheeler, when she was alive, paid to have that fence line maintained. In fact, I know when she died and left the park to Bedford Township, she left, I don't know the amount of money, but she left quite a bit of money for the maintenance of that park. So I called the township, talked to a guy, and he said, "We'll give you permission to cut down the trees, but we won't pay for it." Well, that would have been fine, except my neighbor 2 doors down had one in the park that was invasive, and you did cut it down. But when I called back to the township board, the gentleman I talked to said, "No, we didn't do it." My neighbor said, "Well, it must have been God that did it, because 2 guys showed up with chainsaws and cut it down. It's still laying there, and it's on Bedford Township Park." So I said, "Well, if they can cut that one down, they can certainly cut down these 2 that are so intrusive." But he said no. So I sent an email to Mr. Anger, which he was kind enough to respond. He said, "I forwarded it to Mr. Braylow. You chose not to respond. That was 2 weeks ago. You didn't call back, and you didn't respond to it." So I called the township board again, and I said, "What do I do?" And he said, "I'd suggest you go to the meeting." So that's why I'm here. I'm hoping, I don't want to pay to have the trees cut down on Bedford Township property. I think Bedford Township should maintain its park like it always was before, but that's why I'm here. So.
Yep. And I've been open to, I have forwarded on to Al, who would handle this. That's why I didn't respond, because I really don't have a play in it.
You forwarded to who?
To Al Pryor, our township supervisor. He is aware of the situation. Pat, who is our head of maintenance, was on vacation the past couple weeks.
Okay.
So they have not had the opportunity and playing catch up to be out there.
It'd be nice if they could have notified.
As for public comment, like I wanted to let you speak, gave you more than the 2-minute window, more than enough time. So I'm going to say our part now and kind of where it stands. If the trees are not falling or of an emergency status at this time, we just don't go in and take trees, especially out of a preserve. Is kind of the stance of it. The second part, to backfill you on your neighbor's tree or whoever may have cut that off, Chaz from the prior Park Commission board on our prior 4 years or what back went out himself and voluntarily, like there were a couple that were leaning, hanging, and had actually broken limbs coming down in yards. He went down and cut them himself on volunteer time.
I was going to say, I got some limbs falling.
I would guess more than likely that's the one you're talking about where,
Yeah.
Al, if you cover anybody with town, no, we never paid a bill for this. We never had that completed. We as a board said kind of the same thing. We gave it to them to, hey, do you approve these being taken out? Nothing ever happened, so Chaz went out there and took care of it himself. From the point of that, as where it stands, I'm getting it to Al. We're going to look into, because this is the first I've ever heard in 5 years now that there may be a fund for maintenance of Wheeler Park that they may have left. That's been announced to me, and I had no idea. So yeah, I want to look into that.
Who left?
Well, I did look into something.
Wheelers.
The Wheelers.
Oh, they left? Oh, okay.
That's complete. You
Nice.
saying it 2.5 minutes ago is the first I've ever heard of that. So if there is, yeah, absolutely, this should be used to maintain it, and utilize
Are they
it.
invasive?
The guy that lives, Glenn, that lives behind us, he lives in Mrs. Wheeler's house that owned all the property.
Yep.
And he cut all the trees down on the edge. In fact, he cut some down that were part of the park property just to get rid of them. He said, the problem now is, he said, these trees of heaven, he said, people think you can just cut them down, but you can't, because the root system is all underground.
Correct.
Cut one down, you get 10 more. He said, we got about 10 or 20 of them growing right over here in this edge of the park, and it's his words, not mine. He says, you know, it's starting to look like Southeast Asia over here. I mean, it's really getting bad. He said, but I don't know what you can do about it. And I said, what's the answer? He said, the answer is to poison them. You gas them and poison them, and down they go. But he's saying that. And then the guy, Bob, real nice guy with, what do you call that, rig and tree or something, all crane and tree, real nice guy. He said, I don't know what you're going to do, but this whole thing's got to go. He said, you got a mess here. I really didn't expect anything to happen. It's just that I don't have the money to go in and pay for it. So now this doesn't have any bearing on it. We have a real nice fish pond with a waterfall back there. Water's filthy all the time, but it's never seen sunshine. You know, the trees are just overhanging it so bad. And as I say, going in and having these guys come up and cut it back to the fence line, he said, well, that mulberry tree right there, he said, there's 3/4 of it's hanging over your yard. You know, it grew this way. And to the board's credit, the gentleman that you mentioned, he said, hey, go ahead and cut it down. It's okay with us, but you got to pick up the tab.
Right. And that's, like I said,
That's probably the way it's going to wind up. I just can't afford it.
it's in the works. I'm working to see, what's the solution, because like you said, you can go and simply cut down tree heaven, you're just expanding it, and it's going to become a worse problem years down the road.
Yeah.
It's something that's been discussed as a past board, because Aaron and myself were on the past board.
I got to give you guys credit. At least they gave me credit, or they gave me the permission to cut them down.
Absolutely, that's where,
They're junk trees and they should come down.
right.
I just can't afford to.
What's the cost, by the way? What did you get?
Yeah, what'd you get as a,
Well,
because that's going to be our step is,
They didn't give you nothing yet? Or
They wanted me to come to this meeting and see if the township would do something before they gave me a price. But this guy, Mike,
of course.
one guy's
Price
name-
goes up.
Mike Gray runs Bedford Tree.
Yep.
You know Mike?
I do.
Okay.
Personally.
Well, Mike came up and looked at him and he said, you need this whole thing cleared out, not just this mulberry tree and these 2 tree of heaven. And he said, that's the ones you need, but these other ones that are straddling the line should come out of here. He said, I'll do it for $1,700. I said, $1,700? I'm not going to pay $1,700 to have that, to cut down Bedford Township's trees. I just can't afford it.
Right.
I said, what about just going back up and trim them? He said, you're wasting your time. In 4 years, you're going to.
It's going to be overgrown. And that's where, like I said, it's in the works of a process of discussing, are we doing simple cut downs? Are we fully eradicating the tree of heaven issue that is at Wheeler?
I don't know.
Me too.
There's a lot of factors where this isn't like a quick, we're going to have a guy come down and just cut the tree out.
I think
It's unless it's a fallen emergency issue or a tree, that's when we actually go in and clear trees out of the parks. The bigger issue, especially with Wheeler, was I believe that the time period has passed where it being the preserve and the grant that we were receiving from Pearson Metro Park from Oak Openings and that agreement we were in with them, we're not allowed to go in and do anything with the park. It's a preserve. We can do the forestry trails and kind of clean up the trail line, and that's pretty much it of what you can change or do within that in terms of continuing to have the grant. These are all the pieces that are in works, and I wish I could give you a better answer and say, yeah, we're planning on next week getting those trees out of there. We know the tree of heaven's there. We know it's an issue. Our main concern, and to fast pace it, will be if it's an emergency scenario or it's come down on a fence line, or that's where, yes, something will happen quick because it needs taken care of then. Leading to that point, there's a lot of different angles we're looking at, and I've given to Al and said, this is what the township needs to approach, so here we go.
Well, when I talked to Mike, he said, about this one, there's a real tall river locust that's right on the fence line, not on my, and we've worried for a long time, because the fall is going to fall right on our house, and of course it'll bend. Mike said he said, it ain't going to fall on your house. There's enough foliage on it. I don't care if it bends. It's not going to fall on
It's not coming out.
He said, have you ever cut one of those down? I said, yeah, when we bought the house 35 years ago, we cut 16 of them down out of our backyard, because we didn't have a backyard.
Right.
We just cut
It
them
was
all.
all the part of that same
And they were just
grouping.
junk trees. Now, there's more going down the side, but it's not the parks business. That's owned by the houses, they're
Yep.
pie-shaped, the way they come in.
Yep.
So, like I said, now Glenn, the guy that lives in Mrs. Wheeler's house, he's pretty handy. I mean, he's out with a chainsaw himself, cutting trees down and cutting them up and getting rid of the wood. And he's really made it beautiful back there. But as I say, we always kept it really, matter of fact, we went the other side of the fence and planted hostas all the way down and cleared out the whole thing. It looked gorgeous. We could see the deer, the turkey, they're in there all the time.
Oh, yeah.
As you know, but I can't see anything now. I mean, I'm just stuck. And I got limbs falling in the yard, but I don't think it's an emergency. I don't have big.
And pretty much from the fear of just going in and cutting them out was, like you said, tree of heaven, you do that, and then it expands them. It's just going to end up, it's a quick cleanup and a fix. It's a very temporary fix. But the approach, as far as I knew, was we're aiming to have the tree of heaven eradicated. And what approach? I've requested that our maintenance gets out there, marks the trees that are along that line to do a cleanup and see. And from there, I know our maintenance doesn't have the manpower or equipment power to actually remove. So it'll be getting quotes from there. And then from there, it'll be us as a board approving. And then it's going to go to, if it's above $1,500, which it's going to be for that number of trees, it's going to go to the township board, and it's going to be up to them for their approval and their wishes. Do they want to approach and do this? We'll give our recommendation, and this is kind of the way it's been leaning. But
Once again, when I talk.
follow along with once it gets to township and
That's to clean them all. I don't need them all cleaned.
Right.
There's only 2 of them I need cut down.
and that's where I get it from your point. From how we're looking at it is we need to eradicate the tree of heaven from the park, from the preserve itself. That is a tree that needs to come out.
Got those little bugs that get on them, and everybody's saying.
Spotted
Spotted
lanternfly.
lanternfly.
Little tree and.
Yep.
It destroys crops and stuff.
So that's where this stands. And no, I appreciate you.
I just, if something can be done, it'd be great, because I can't afford to do anything. And my wife said, well, when are you going to clean this up? And of course, I not only have the tree problem, like I said, I haven't been able to do much. So I got all the poison ivy and poison oak is coming over, and I said, I can't. And she won't let me spray it because we have dogs. She doesn't want the
Yep.
dogs.
And that's why we are not allowed to spray as a township in the public areas.
Years ago, I took care of it, and I knew that I wasn't allergic to that stuff. But I wore a long sleeve shirt and glasses.
Yeah, you don't have to be
She'll
allergic
see
for
me
it to
2
mess with
days
you.
later. I was covered in that. So I don't want to get into all that. But anyway, if there's the only reason I knew.
No, I'm glad you're bringing it up, and it's
thought
it's
I'd just-
to public attention now because we can talk about it and say it so much and pass it on to the township board. And if there's not a backing behind it or somebody outside of us saying this is it, the recommendation, usually that gets kind of overlooked, and now we don't need to worry about this right now. So you coming and speaking it and bringing it to attention helps more than you know. Basically, I've got your number from the email, and so does Matt. And once we know kind of a stage where it's at, or if it's going to be something that goes to township board for approval, we can keep you on posted on which board meeting it's going to be at. And your best case from there is if it is to a township board meeting and to that approval point, to show up to that meeting and do the same thing and give your 2 cents on it and why you're in support of this and moving forward with this, and it goes to those members for approval from there.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for your time.
Absolutely.
Park at the parking lot, are you straight back and to the left?
I'm sorry?
If you park in the parking lot, is it straight back on the trail and to the left?
Yeah?
Okay.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
I remember
it's
the
that
other
back.
tree. Like if you go straight back, you're to the left a little bit. You're 2 houses to the left of the other house.
And that's
I might take some pictures. I might go back there and take.
go back and get some pictures. And over in that area is where Chaz went before.
I remember that's where. I know the old tree.
It's a
Yeah.
pie shape for those, this house comes this way, and then.
Yep, they're all
And
those.
the house that Glenn's in, that Mrs. Wheeler was in, comes up, and there's a stake 3/4 across my yard that starts the.
All right. I'll see it.
We had a couple that were, the neighbors that live there now, a guy's name's Terry, I forget his last name. He's been pretty good, he's pretty handy. And he came up and cut some down, but he's got a whole bunch of river locusts growing along. And he said, I know those should come out, but I'm not gonna do it. He said, they're not bothering me and they're not bothering the house, because they're back, a little bit.
And the most our maintenance can do is how they do now. They go back through the trail, they clear the walking path, they clear the perimeter trail, and that's pretty much the extent of maintenance unless it's fallen trees or blocking trees or
Township's lucky it's got all those parks,
100%.
you know, and it was great to get that one. We liked it. One of the things we always liked about living there, and the reason we never moved, is because it couldn't be built on.
It's dead, and that's why we can't change it. It's officially as a preserve. There, we can't put anything up on it. We can't do anything with it other than maintain it and try to, help the walking trail path.
For my
So,
wife's sake, her big complaint, besides the weeds, of course, we still plant the flowers and everything. It looks nice, but she likes seeing the deer. As they come
and it's
right up.
overgrowth.
Well, Mrs. Wheeler fed them
The
all.
deer love that it's overgrown. They're
Yeah.
hiding a lot better.
There's a
But
white, what is it, there's a white something back there, and those deer feed on it every day, and it's great, and of course, there's wild turkeys and all that. We just
Ton of that.
unfortunately can't see them anymore. We get to see the squirrels, because my dogs let them know when they're,
oh yeah.
well, anyway, thanks for your time.
Yeah, I'll keep you in the loop and informed with it since we have your contact and your email. And like I said, that's the steps in the approach of where it's at this point. So
Well,
you
what are
know
guys
what's
gonna-
going on.
What are you guys gonna do about all this hot weather we've been having?
So let me work on that next.
Can we make a
Air conditioning
100
station.
degrees? Today was great. People like
It's
today.
coming back. So
Yeah.
be ready.
Just, and only let it rain. Don't let it rain on the weekends. Kids are playing ball, and so.
It never ends. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'll let you public comment. Hopping in.
Public comment or on the Wheeler Preserve?
Oh, it's public comment.
Comment, okay, yep. Let me grab my paper real quick.
Okay. I would say, honestly, we're kind of in that, he's the only public, and that's the topic.
Fair
So
enough.
If we want to do 9C at the same time in this Wheeler Trees update, take it over.
Little bit of answer, so I'd asked maintenance about any trees we might have trimmed along there. They said they have not trimmed trees. All they do is, like you said, they go out and do the trails.
Trail maintenance and,
They tried to get back in. They got back into one of the other properties, but they weren't able to make it back to yours. Said it was so thick. It was just not really accessible. Generally, Bedford Township has not trimmed any trees. What if, unfortunately, it would, our budget does not allow. But if this park board would like to look at that, that's certainly up to your purview on that.
and
Yeah,
that was
no.
the main thing I know as a previous board, and we've brought up as well. It's not necessarily just cleaning and bringing it back. It's the tree having the invasive species portion, which I know was brought up by the Metro Parks grant we had before with Wheeler. It's an item. We know it's an item. They're honestly, it's an item throughout Bedford. It's not just contained at Wheeler Preserve, but it is an item that, as government and public land, we should probably take a lead on. So that was the big thing that what I wanted to look into, and at a minimum, let's get some bids to what's it going to take to remove it all. Because I know, as Mike had brought up, it's not you cut them down and they're gone. It's you've got to actually poison the root system, and that it's a much more in-depth process than taking out a tree and calling it a day.
Well, I'm glad you showed up.
Right, that's why I told him.
encouraged him to come out
I
tonight.
know we've gotten a couple emails about it, and it's something that it's on the agenda for this reason, is we want to be able to discuss it. And okay, I'm glad I know where it stands with what Pat can get back in there. I know it's not much he can get back in there and do, but if we can get them marked and get bids to
Okay.
what's it going to take, at least we have a better idea of what we're looking at from there.
Yep, and going on a couple other things. I know you guys have asked about car park,
Scheduling.
car park and White Park, the slides that have to be repaired at each of them.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the backhoe is down again, so we can't do these jobs until that's back. And it's down, so it's at Buckinobby's right now for repairs. The other.
Quite a few of the parts came in, but we're still waiting on
So
another grouping of
pretty much
parts.
got them all in now.
Okay.
We're waiting on the other stuff that the installers from Miracle are doing.
Okay.
We're waiting on them,
Gotcha.
that installer to finalize scheduling. So
Okay.
we have those parts in. Pat's put a call in. We're hopefully going to hear the date by the end of the week.
Okay. Good.
Yep. That's
So yeah, that's the best we can do is telling the public is the playground equipment, it's been ordered, it's in process of being repaired and up up to speed.
Car park, we've got some complaints about the doors in there, so we need to look at new doors in the community hall.
The hall itself, yep. The exterior doors.
Yep.
It's basically the bottom gaskets and
Yes.
how they seat and
Yep, so
Okay.
somebody called in again today, so it's moving its way through the work.
okay.
Pickleball courts, we're still in contract
Yep.
negotiations with ASI. Phil has it, it's in his hands, and I know he's been in talks with them. They're making a couple changes to make sure the contract is fair and balanced for both parties. Car park, Manic and Smith, still continuing on the pavilion. No new updates there.
Okay.
Drinking fountains.
We've got the
No.
bids here.
So,
Fence.
so we had 2 of those come in, so which was good. And Parmalee, the hole for the disc golf course. So it has not fallen through the cracks, but Pat believes that only hole 1 should be shifted.
Correct. And
Yeah,
that's
not hole
what I
2.
thought we were looking at is just
That is what we were
shifting
looking
the
at.
tee box so you're angling your shot
Yes.
away
So
from
it doesn't go in the gentleman's backyard
Correct.
as much. Yep. So it's on the docket.
Okay.
So we're progressing through, moving.
I get it. It's
Yep. And that's
July and it's the grass has not burnt out. It's just
It's still
just
growing.
going like crazy. So yeah, I get it.
So yeah. So that's it for my updates.
Fence at car park.
Which what?
The
Oh, the fence.
Oh, yeah, backyard
Sorry.
reno.
Yep. So Ben, I had talked to him at the beginning of this month, and he said hopefully 2 weeks, and we're right about at that 2-week margin where he said, give me another 2 weeks because it was back ordered still.
Yep.
I haven't heard an update from him, but I wasn't going to call him until after that 2-week
Yep.
date from my phone call to him passed. So give him that time.
Yeah, there's that project too.
Yep. So he said
Ours,
that
they're doing a lot.
should be in and then hopefully get it in pretty quick. So,
That 2 week would be like the end of this week, you think?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, as far as I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions for me?
I say you guys got anything else for him?
Nope. Okay.
No, we appreciate the update.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chase.
I had one thing to add.
Shoot, Mike.
It's never gonna happen. My wife had an idea for the whole problem. He said, we just got our son a tax. Mom, you'll pay to cut the trees down, they'll take it off your tax.
Oh, sure, yeah.
We'll jump right on that.
So that moves us to our old new business, 9A, the fireworks review, any information post-show.
I'm all done here. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mike.
Crew, I did talk with the crew post-show. Everything went smooth. They didn't have any issues with the storms that came through that afternoon and setup. Everything was good. Everything was good from Chris with the schools and the setup, having the stadium up. Like everything went smooth as to what you could expect for the heat and for the storms during the afternoon. Our one food truck, Got Ears, was a no-show. They had an emergency and a hospital visit, and they were no-go, so we only had Purple Penguin. I think Glowworks was there.
Yeah. They were there as well,
Yep,
yes.
yep, that was the other vendor. So looking into next year and with the bigger picture, planning ahead, getting more on schedule and going is going to be the ideal thing if we are looking to go more. I know the township board has been gung-ho and really wants to make next year really a really much bigger community event. Actual Saturday the 4th was brought up as doing it, and I spoke with Drew of Ace Pyro and confirmed that our fireworks show will be the Friday before the 4th, which is Friday, June 26th, we said? Was that Friday? Yep, Friday, June 26th, to book the 4th of July with a professional company on Saturday for the 250th anniversary of the United States. They were booked nearly a decade in advance. You're not going to find a professional company to come out and do it that day. He said, be forewarned if you want to search for others and they tell you they're available that day, that it might not be the best of shows and go off as smoothly as you think. So that's where it stands is next year. The fireworks display itself will be Friday, June 26th, the weekend before. We can plan an entire event and kind of community day and everything for that day and work with the township board on that. I've spoken with Al on that as well, as it didn't really cross anybody's mind of, hey, when can they schedule kind of a thing when starting to talk about it. But now that we know it a year in advance, this is what we can plan for. anything. I was at White Park for the show at the 3B event as well. Everything went over great there. Obviously, there was some cleanup and porta-john cleanups and everything that needs to happen post a large event. And as far as I've been made aware, everything is back on track and good to go. Anything you guys have kind of on post-show info, anything you heard, anything that came up, anything we need to know about?
Not a whole lot.
Awesome. That's what I got for that. Moving on to 9B, the decision on the White Park Butterfly Station location. We have not selected a spot yet between the fireworks and everything that's been going on.
We haven't
You
gotten
have
with.
spoken with
So, yeah, we-
Monarch Moms,
Yes, so we haven't.
with
haven't-
Pat on vacation.
Yes,
That's
so we have-
something,
that's
if
the
you
main
want to
thing.
handle that and just talking with Pat and picking one location at White Park for a 10 by 10 plot
Mm-hmm.
that, we mulch and flower and possibly put a sign into that they can do this at. Clear it with Pat, make sure it's not going to interfere with maintenance or anything, and then also that it's not interfering with any of the fields or potential. I wouldn't do it right around the current courts, because if there's
Right.
expansion and we add pickleball and tennis courts or anything there, we just need to find a location to let Monarch Moms know.
I wonder if between the parking lot and the playscape, because that area, there's a decent sized area right there.
Which would be ideal is what you really want with this station and having these, which we have at Anstead Park, and having signage is it's not only a butterfly station with the flowers and everything for them, it's also an education point. So where you're going to see the most in and out traffic and volume and eyes on it is ideal. So either along the trail,
yeah, the trail.
or like you said, there between where the entry and access points are is going to be your best bet to keep in mind.
Yeah.
And obviously, once they've got a spot picked, he can bring it to us, and we can all decide and kind of give it from there. That's all I've got on that.
So wait, are we tabling that, or we're authorizing Josh to be the arbiter?
Josh, it was Josh and myself. We haven't gotten to a spot, but now that Pat's back from vacation,
We're just gonna table it for now because I'm gonna reach out to Pat. I'm gonna want to go out there with Pat, and I think with
Right.
Monarch Moms as well, so we can all agree on a spot, and then bring it to the next
Bring it
meeting.
back?
Yeah,
Yes.
Or I could just say you're in charge, and it just
that's
happens
what
and isn't
we're.
tabled.
Yeah, he's just handling it. It's nothing.
I'm not tabling it. I'm saying he's the director of that project.
Perfect.
And that's how it's going.
I mean, I would motion to just table it for now because
We're not motion. You guys,
Well-
this whole motion. Yeah, we're not motioning on anything. We're not
Well, it's fine.
approving anything
We're-
going in.
He's
Go
just,
and find
Josh
a
is
spot.
the director. He's going to pick a spot.
Sure.
Great. Okay. Beautiful.
9C we've pretty much covered in terms of the Wheeler trees and an update and all those pieces. If you have anything else on it, let me know. Otherwise, we're moving right along. 9D is the drinking fountain installation bids. We got bids from two companies, Advanced Plumbing and, I skipped the page there, R&A Rush, which is off Lewis Avenue in Temperance here. One for $36,850, the other for $37,516. This was for Car Park, Samaria Park, White Park, and Parmalee Park, the four drinking fountain locations. I honestly couldn't tell you the specifics of details of what work is all needs to be done to bring everything to code to be able to install the new fountains that we got from ARPA funds that we already have in possession in the warehouse. This covers it. I don't know if you want to have anything on it, or we got these from Al. Was there a recommendation or something that I know the township's done work with Advanced Plumbing in the past?
So both are, Rush is a
Doing what we
local
need.
company, and Advanced is somebody we worked with. Advanced worked with us and with the plumbing inspector in order to come up with what we needed to
Requirements
achieve
and what we
code. And as you can see, they're both neck and neck on price. Advanced was a little bit cheaper.
$674 difference.
So, but Advance was the one who worked with us to come up with this plan. Basically, it's some sort, now I'm not the plumbing inspector, and
Nor am I.
referred everything to him for this to meet code requirements. It's some sort of French drainish miniature leach field, whatever it is.
To allow the drain off
Yes,
from the fountain,
yes,
and it
yep.
meets code requirements, and
So.
it's everything to be able to then
Yes.
place the new fountain in place
Yep.
and turn it on.
Yep, so instead of, tiling all the way to the sewer main and doing that, which was exponentially more expensive,
Yep.
this was the other plan.
Okay.
Did Advance do that pro bono? Or
Work
is
with
there
us, yes,
to help create this?
yes.
That was pretty nice of them. I was
We've had good luck with Advanced and other
about to recommend the
I-
other guys because they were local, but that is pretty nice of them.
Advanced is out of Monroe.
know, it's still
I've
pretty-
hired and worked with Advanced when we had the leaks going on at the system at Carr. Like, I know they've done work with the township in the past, and they handled it. They did a great job, and they,
Advanced has handled stuff at the library for us here at the Township Hall in the back parking
familiar
lot
with the
here.
process. And
So, you know, but at the same time, Rush is a good local commercial contractor. So, you know, certainly nothing against them. They just, in this case, they were the higher bid.
right, which, like I said, it's 674. Did I add it up right?
Yeah,
684
But I mean,
was the difference on 36,850 and 37,516. Do you guys have anything to add, or if there's nothing else to add, I will make a motion to. I appreciate RA Rush for providing us with a bid. I also appreciate Advance for working with us and working with the inspector and getting all of this put together to find the code in detail, what we have to get done, and then bidding to do the work as well. That I'm going to recommend we send this to the township board that we recommend Advanced Plumbing for the work.
I'll support.
All in favor of the motion?
yes.
Matthew?
Yes.
Myself, aye, and Josh.
Aye.
We will send, obviously they'll be able to look at both bids. We're going to take it as a recommendation for Advanced Plumbing to get this work done so we can get the new drinking fountains installed.
Good.
Awesome. That's all we needed for that one. Parks update, Anstead. Any update?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Samaria?
Not a whole lot right now to report. I know the rentals have been going good there so far. I haven't had any complaints from Samaria lately.
Just the flooding whenever it rains. So
It's
just
where that
That's-
pavilion
I'm gonna
sits.
update the website if I didn't already to say if you're renting the pavilion, just know that
It sits in
if
a
it-
low spot
if it
that likely
rains,
has water.
it could flood. We'll refund your money for flooding. We get that, but if you're having a event there, just know that that could be an issue.
Right.
Yep.
Something we can look at down the road as far as getting the drainage fixed, but won't be anytime soon. Yeah, other than that, there, a lot of rentals still going on. I drove by there Sunday. I was going to go check things out and stuff, but there was an event going on there, and I didn't want to interrupt in that. So it was a family reunion, so
Okay.
all used.
White Park, same thing, well used. Been busy on the summer with it. No complaints, nothing that I've gotten. Obviously, we are aware of the broken playground parts and had the update on that. 3B's busy. Maintenance has actually, I'll give them a lot of credit with how the grass has grown this year and not gotten to a burnout stage and slow growing, and they've done a great job keeping up as they can with the fields. Yeah, you'd like them mowed every 2 days, playing baseball on them, I get it. But they've done a great job this season thus far. It's still growing like wildfire out there. Nothing's burning out and slowing down. So a lot of props to them. Other than that, White Park's in great shape. 3B had a great event with the fireworks show. Main piece that I'm going to work on getting from them to bring to you guys is they are looking for the potential, and with the funds they've raised, they want to purchase removable pitching mounds for the 3 inner fields that are under the lighting. Reason being that with the built-up mounds that are currently there, you cannot have any type of, by any league or regulation, any type of softball because they play on flat surface. So if they had removable mounds, they would obviously just take off the field, and then it would be a flat surface. They could host softball as well and help support Lady Mules and get more teams in. With that, though, in purchasing those style mounds, they're looking to potentially for an area by the current one or somewhere of, and if we would support, whether they can come up with the funds or maybe meet them with it or fund it for them, getting like a 10 by 10 shed to put some of their maintenance equipment in and then also store these type of mounds. Nothing that's come up yet, but down the road future, consider it, or
Okay.
terms, if you're out there looking with Pat, where would be a good spot to add an additional, storage shed. The current building that's there that they utilize is jam-packed. Between
Okay.
the field chalk, the four-wheeler, it's jam-packed.
That's the little
It's
white
not-
garage building.
Yep.
Okay.
It's not an option they can't, the mounds are actually pretty large. They would need like a 10 by 10 shed for basically those, and then they can put some shelves in it to store the littler stuff and help alleviate a little bit in that other building, but it would pretty much be for these types of mounds.
Essentially, put it next to that building, so it's right there. I mean,
As long as it's not too narrow. That's where, like I said, it was a discussion I had with 3B where they think it would be a cool idea. It would allow for more games and more variety on the fields because softball on those 3 inner fields, which are the lighted ones, they can't use them with the built-up dirt mounds that are there.
I think it would also be good too, so it's another place where they can play in case,
Exactly.
wherever they usually play, if they can't play there or if they
Exactly.
want more games.
It's just widening the
good.
range of use
Yeah.
for the fields and who can utilize them. And I don't think it's a bad idea. It's just something that's
great.
going to be in the works and discussed. Moving on, Parmalee, I don't have an update yet from the guys for the sign. I know it's been ordered. I don't know if it's
They said it's on the order and
Yep.
the big board is up, so I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll get there anytime.
The board and the actual framework and everything's in place for the sign. It's just the actual printed sign itself to get put up there and screwed in is not there yet.
We need nets for the basketball hoops. How do we do that?
Order a couple on Amazon and keep your receipt and turn it in.
Yeah, or
Or
does
talk-
maintenance do
talk-
that?
talk
Does
to Pat.
Does maintenance?
I replaced them all in the parks when we first got on board 5 years ago.
Really?
It's been 5 years since the nets were
You did them
replaced.
all?
Yep.
You did like every basketball just
Yep.
through this
There's-
process, or you went and bought them?
I went and did it. They're like $8.50 a piece on Amazon. I needed a new one for my house, and I bought like a 10-pack of them, and I went and did. Carb,
and you
the
just
white
went around
park.
with a ladder and did them.
Yep. If you want to do that, go for it.
No.
At least order them and
No,
get
no,
them to
no.
maintenance, or put in a work order to maintenance to
Okay.
purchase some standard white basketball nets, nylon nets.
Very good.
And was the I got an email about the angle of that court. Is that in the works
tee
then?
box. Yes. Maintenance is still the first tee box. You said that's still on the list and in the works of.
Yes.
Okay.
What it pretty much is the fence line runs like this.
No, I know this.
The first
yeah.
tee, or the holes here, and the first tee is here. They want to look at moving the tee box closer to the
Right.
perimeter, so your actual shot is angling away from his fence. It's not a change of distance, so it won't upset the course map or the tee signs we got. Yeah, they'll have to move that concrete pad and the 1 4x4 post with the actual tee marker. The hole, they could, if it needs it a little more, that hole could, the actual basket could be shifted about 2-3 feet just to create a better angle. But mainly it was the tee box and moving it.
Yeah,
Is what we were looking at.
We
doing,
were given
just to
the
try to-
diagram and basically just following the diagram
Yep.
that they had given us. And I think it's a shift of 30 feet.
Yep. In total.
So, yeah. So it's
No, I forwarded the email. Just I didn't know
Yep.
how to respond to it. So
what about clearing out the brush along that fence line there? 'Cause there's discs that do get lost in there. I've lost a few of them in there before.
yeah.
It's
Generally with that, like I said, we clear the trails. And if a tree comes down across the trail or a fence, then we do that. I mean, we don't really have the budget to go and cut down.
That's something I'll bring up with Mitch and disc golf because they were looking at if we can get mulch delivered when they do the big sign. They would like to mulch underneath each of the baskets because you can see the concrete block and it tears discs up when they hit them. That's going to be more of a let's get the
volunteer.
disc golf community on board and pick a volunteer day and let's do a brush cleanup day and a trail cleanup day and get some mulch spread and
I'm just saying a whole one there that where that fence is for that guy's
back
property.
some-
There's
cut back
it's
some-
so overgrown. It's a job, but yeah,
let's get a volunteer day plan.
bring some equipment or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where that's going to stand. Anything else for Parmalee? Car? Obviously, there's a ton going on with Cars Grove.
I'll only touch on the stuff that hasn't been touched on yet. And I just did want to thank the Bedford Indivisible group. They came out and we did a much-needed volunteer day to clean up the front. It was way overgrown and outdated. And with stuff we already had on supplies, we were able to do it in 3 hours, and it looks much better.
It looks fantastic at the front of the rental hall there if you haven't seen it, compared to what it was, the overgrowth and all that. Same thing. It's overgrowth. It's clean up. It's, hey, let's get a volunteer group out to knock it out. If Samaria Hall needs that, or let's get a volunteer group over there. And it's maintenance isn't, that's not something we're going to be able to get through work order and completion. Wheeler Preserve, we've discussed in plenty. I don't have any other update on that. Otherwise, it's the preserve is there. Comments from the public. We don't have any public present. Commissioners' comments. Aaron?
Nothing to report.
Matthew?
Nothing to add.
I don't have anything else to add myself. Josh?
Not too much except for let's get with Al on taking care of all these trees at Wheeler, because this needs to be done. Should have been done a long time ago, and I think it'd be a good year to get it done. If maintenance is able to do it maybe in the fall when things slow down a little bit for them, as far as like less mowing and that, I think that'd be good. Or we should just start getting out to bid, and like start the bid process later
It's
this
gonna have
month.
to get- It's for it. Maintenance doesn't have the equipment for the amount of
Then,
trees and the size of trees.
let's just get it out to bid. Let's bring it to the next agenda.
So at least we know what price we're looking
Yeah.
at. Yep.
I'd think just have maintenance go through. Let's get a count of everything that's needed and get out to bid.
I agree. Any other final things? Otherwise, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion for adjournment.
I will second. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Our next meeting is 2 weeks from today, July 28th, here at Township Hall, 7 p.m. Meeting is adjourned. Thanks, guys.